everyone. This is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Business Communications at Ozarka College. What I'm going to do today is give you just a little bit of feedback on the Chapter 5 activities that I finished grading this morning. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due next week for Chapter 6 and 7. And then I'm also going to remind you again about the Project 1, which is under Week 8 of the activities page. All right. So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the Chapter 5 activities this morning. Looks like most of you did well on the Chapter 5 assignment. And so I really appreciate the time and effort that you're putting in. So keep up the good work on that. On the Chapter 5 objective test, most of you did well on that. But just as a reminder, you can take those chapter tests as many times as you want to up until the due date. And your highest grade is automatically recorded. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that I will be opening up the chapter test a little bit later in the semester to help you prepare for the midterm exam and the final exam. All right? Just let me know if you have any questions at all about Chapter 5. If you'll remember, we didn't have a discussion for Chapter 5. So all we had was just an assignment and chapter test. Okay? All right. So now what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities, we go to the activities page in my Ozarka. Right now we are on week 5 of the semester, kind of in the middle of that week. And we don't have anything else due this week since we just had work due last night. But we do have work due later in the week next week. So you've got just a little over a week to be working on the Chapter 6 and 7 activities, which are due by Thursday of next week, which is September 26th. All right? And just like on the previous assignments, just remember that you have resources available to you under the resources heading at the bottom of the assignment page. You have PowerPoint slides there that I've linked for you, and then also the videos that correspond to the concepts that are presented in those chapters. And so just remember the resources that you have available to you there. And so be working on those. Don't wait until next week. Go ahead and get started now, and that way you'll give yourself plenty of time to get those completed. And Chapter 6, by the way, deals with how to create good news and neutral news messages. All right, so in Chapter 6, you're going to learn about the deductive or direct sequence of writing, and you're going to learn about the types of good news messages. You'll learn about things like routine claims, routine requests, routine messages regarding orders and credit. And then finally, at the end of the chapter, you'll learn about procedural messages. All right, so those are messages. Basically, in Chapter 6, you're going to learn about messages where you can use a more direct approach to writing the messages, constructing the messages, because you're giving either positive news, good news basically, or neutral news. That's neither good nor bad. Okay? All right. Then in Chapter 7, you're going to learn about the other type of message, which is a little bit more difficult, actually quite a bit more difficult, which is a bad news message. Okay? Where you have to give bad news to someone. And so in a bad news message, you're going to use the inductive approach, which is less direct. Okay? Kind of an indirect approach. So you're going to learn how to develop bad news messages, the words that you should use in bad news messages, and the types of bad news messages in a business would be things like refusing a request that someone has requested from you. It could be a customer, it could be an employee, it could be a supplier, but sometimes you have to refuse a request, and so you have to be able to use the right approach in delivering that kind of a message. Also denying a claim, denying credit, delivering constructive criticism, communicating negative organizational news. So those are all things you're going to learn about in Chapter 7. All right. So Chapter 6 kind of handles the direct approach or the deductive approach to writing messages, and then Chapter 7 you're going to learn about the inductive approach. All right. All right. And the other thing I need to point out to you, and I know I've already done this a couple of times, but it's important because it's going to be coming up here in just a couple of weeks. You've got your first project due on October 6th. And I know that seems like a long time away from now, but that project is going to take some time and effort from you to complete. And so if you haven't already done this, hopefully you've already gone in and looked at the project one where you're doing a persuasive letter. But if you haven't, go ahead and do that at least by this week sometime. You need to start looking at this project because if you wait until the week that it's due, you're not going to give yourself enough time. So go ahead and be looking at this project one, the persuasive letter. The instructions are under the action menu here under resources. So you just click on the down arrow next to the action button there, and then you can either download the file or open it. That is basically the set of instructions for the project. And then I've also got some additional resources here. Of course, I've got some videos that kind of explain how to do a persuasive letter, persuasive message. And then I also have a letter template that I'd like you to use for the project that already has kind of everything set up for you as far as the formatting for the letter. And all you're going to do is basically put in your information for the letter, okay? The body and so forth that you need to put into the letter. And then I've also got a PowerPoint here that is entitled or titled Project 1 Tips and Examples. And in that PowerPoint, basically I explain and give examples of what I'm looking for in this project, okay? So be looking over those things. You don't necessarily need to get started on the actual constructing of the letter yet, but you at least need to be starting to do a little bit of research and look at the tools that I provided, look at the instructions, and then in the next week or so, you'll need to go ahead and get started on this project. All right? So let me know if you have any questions as you're working through, reading through the instructions. If you have questions about it, just let me know. But you do need to kind of at least take a look at that and kind of get a plan for how you're going to attack creating that, how you're going to approach creating that persuasive letter for Project 1. Okay? All right. So that's basically what you've got. So you should be working on Chapter 6 and 7, which are due by Thursday, September 26th, and then also be kind of looking at that Project 1. All right? And just like I said, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. And that's all I have for you for right now. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I will talk to you again sometime either late next week or early the following week. Thank you.